So there are many investors that come in into the Sun Wukong community, and I assume and hope for you guys soon into your community as well that maybe have never invested in crypto, or at least in a meme coin, right? And it's the first time for them. So there are some things that you need to explain and manage, like the hard swings that you have, right? So it goes up and down and up and down. But at the same time, it's fascinating to encounter this culture. Like for example, like speaking about Sun Wukong, when we speak about superheroes in the United States or in Europe where I live, it's always these kind of pretty masculine and um, kind of tough ball superheroes like Superman or Batman. And when I look at Sun Wukong, it's he's always smiling, right, and pulling jokes and stuff like that. But at the same time, infinitely powerful. So things that I learned from our Chinese community that he's always only holding the fighting stick in one hand, so that he can have the other hand free, which with which he can move worlds, right? So this is it's unique and special, and it's great to bring this story to yeah, to the whole world basically. And the same with Changi, right? When I think of how we have our cultural festivals, it's like Christmas, and it's it's Santa Claus, and this chubby guy with the red dress and carrying the packages. And comparing that to Changi, it's this beautiful, fine lady living on the moon, in the moon palace, on the moon. It's it's something very special, and I learn a lot every day. And yeah, it's an honor, and it's a pleasure to be here and do.
Yeah, so actually, like obviously, like a couple weeks ago, maybe if you ask me. So for me, like personally, I'm not the developer, I'm not the creator, but when I first saw Chang'e on, some pump, I thought, hey, this was like an incredible idea just because at that point of time, obviously someone created this token just, for a short-term hype, just because, Mid-Autumn Festival was happening 1 week later. Amazing. But hey, if you think of this name Chang'e, there's a huge, narrative just because why? This Chang'e character has a huge impact on the China lunar exploration program. So if you date back to 2004, even earlier, 1991, you actually see like the Chinese, authorities already planning for a space mission, right? Just because ultimately back in 1969, I guess, like the US, NASA probably landed their first man on the moon, but it hasn't really been the case for other nations. So, with all this like diplomacy as well as like international relations getting more tense and with the world perhaps getting more bifurcated as well, you know, each of both countries have continued to develop their technologies in terms of like space tech. And for Chang'e, I think it is very special just because from 2007, what happened was like they first sent Chang'e 1 around the moon to have like a good look at, the composition of the moon, how's the orbit like, and until like most recently, in May, they sent Chang'e 6, and that is when they were able to land on the far side of the moon. And there's a huge documentary about this right now that was like released a couple of days ago. And what's more, impressive is that first of all, the representative like female astronaut from the Chinese space program, she kind of mentioned in a very famous like, Chinese TikTok video, which was trending number 3, that Chang'e ascension to the moon is going to become a reality by 2030, as the Chinese actually plan to embark on this mission and land their first crewed, member on the moon itself. And what was very impressive, of course, was like the recent news where our, official X account has posted a lot. which was the first time humans have actually, you know, retrieved lunar samples from the far side of the moon. And aside, and Chinese president as well, he mentioned that Chang'e is not just only for Chang'e, but it belongs to all of humanity. So I think like this narrative itself, has given Chang'e and also given like Sun Wukong with like the rise of Black Myth game, a very good starting point, just because a lot of like the global audience right now understands, hey, this like Chinese concept, culture is evolving into a larger stage in the world. And at the same time, it is not just like exclusively for like the Chinese community. It has evolved to such a huge, paramount that the global audience is also enjoying it, which I think will have a global impact. And then instead of like being an isolated icon, it can be enjoyed and shared around by audiences in the world. Yeah. Just wanted to illustrate that so that people get a better understanding of like what is Chang'e. Yeah. Okay, let's maybe like have another topic of discussion, which is I guess like people are wondering like, does utility as well as like roadmap get evangelized in memes, right? So maybe Sun Kong, do you want to get that started? Like perhaps like sharing like your thoughts on roadmap utility and also like, discussing perhaps a future plan and whatnot.
Yeah, so what we are doing is we are currently working on our premium NFT collection, which is about to be ready in the coming days. So definitely in October. We hope still early October or mid October. And that's going to be one of the, I hope, and I think, most popular NFT collections in the whole space. And other than that, we have a partnership with a 3D metaverse company where when you hold Sun Wukong, you can basically play 3D metaverse game there and use your own Changi character, sorry, your own Sun Wukong character there. And yeah, looking into further partnerships as well.
Got it, got it. Hey, what about some pump? Because like, not trying to sound um bearish or negative, but we have seen a lot of like liquidity going back into Ethereum as well as like Solana, you know, since like perhaps like 2 weeks ago. So with regards to that, like does some palm have any like initiatives to actually try to bring back liquidity back to Tron as well as like the Sun Palm ecosystem? Because like I think the projects on Sun Palm are really top notch, whereby you have, Sun Wukong, Chang'e, Tibu and whatnot, but it's a matter of liquidity whereby, this liquidity is not within one chain right now, but scattered across the mainstream chains. So any initiatives by some palm in the future to actually bring back this liquidity?
The market floats. So we believe that the liquidity will come back. And also, we are doing our best to try to support the meme projects from Sunpump because you are seeing that we are positively engaging and interacting and building the partnership with so many centralized exchanges that we want to help our projects to reach more heights and to uh, push the boundaries and to make them to be more visible. So yeah, you can see that we are trying to help and also to enhance the user trading experience on the Samsung platform. So I think people just you can just follow us and to walk with us and see how we can gain back the things that we had before. And yeah, let's see, because sometimes beta is just launched for not about 2 months, and we got so many far away to go. So yeah, just believe us and stand with us, and let's see what's coming next.
Yeah, that's so positive, and that's why we are still, building. And then, of course, we appreciate some pumps' effort just because, like not, how do I put it? Like, we might be at only 100K market cap, but some pump actually understands, the effort that we are putting in, and at the same time, they have been, rendering us their support very unwavering, and huge thanks to those guys, to help us get more rich, especially when we're in like, 2029. And it was funny as well because like one of our community member went to Russia to attend like crypto summit, and I think HTX style also did something very thoughtful for us. Yeah. 诶，三胖就我觉得，就我们华语社区的朋友们就好奇你刚刚就说了什么，你要用中文说一下吗？
啊，可以。因为刚刚提到的话题可能稍微有一点点沉重，所以就是作为 Sunpump 的发言人，啊，哦，可以听到我的猫叫，好像。作为 Sunpump 的发言人，也想要给大家就是稍微安心一点吧，就是因为大家如果有关注 Sunpump 的官推的话，可以看到我们在很积极的和各个平台，包